Hello again. um, I I had a really good day today. It was a really nice balance of um, having fun and learning and getting rest. um, so uh, I got back from spending time with old friends that I hadn't spent time in a while, and I called them my crazies. um, I know I shouldn't because that's right, just labeling, but I actually did. That was my label for them for a long time. Um, and I labeled them that way because the first time that I hung out with them, all of them, um, was about 7 years ago, and I let myself go when I usually let myself go when I'm around them, actually, and let loose, if you will, and that actually ended up happening, and my alter ego came out when I was with them. I have a name for her, and they know me as her as well. And so today they were very much like, oh, I want this person to come out, I want this person to come out. But I reminded them, I'm like, I have to drive back, and just trying to find a balance. And I hadn't had, I don't usually drink, and if I do, it's very social and it's not a lot. And it's been a while. I don't remember the last time. And so, anyways, I'm bringing this up because these individuals, and I'll be honest, I've had this love-hate relationship with them, and they've had that with me too, because I know with what they've shared with me, I've had relationships individually, connections and in relationships with them individually, and then also as a group. And so it's interesting because they've shared with me how sometimes they just wanted me to be angry with them, and just kind of be present with them as they were experiencing their emotions. And I'm very, at that time when we were having these interactions, and even now sometimes, and that's something I'm catching myself do, I was always looking at things from both sides, and they shared how that would frustrate them, because I would take more of a diplomatic approach and say, well, if we looked at it this way. And so I know for each of them there was always this, you know me being a goody two shoes, it's just not being present with them, really not being, not really taking, I mean, I would acknowledge how they were feeling, maybe, or maybe I didn't. Maybe I would just jump straight into, well, let's look at it this way and look at the other side, and just really trying to, right, wanting them to see the bigger picture, wanting them to see a different way, rather than just being present with them, with the strong emotions that they held on to. But um, I and so then in my, for me, right, interacting with them, that love-hate relationship was because initially, there was a sense of just the comments that were being made were often very much like teasing other people, and honestly it felt like high school and junior high all over again, for me. That's what triggered in me when I was around these individuals 7 years ago. um, and so in having this engagement and interactions with them today, I came to that realization that part of the difficulty for me in interacting with them more consistently was because they were often holding that mirror up to my face, that mirror of just reflecting back, parts of my past that I felt ashamed of, that I felt embarrassed about, that I were hidden deep in my skeleton, like these are skeletons in my closet that people don't may not know, or maybe might have a hard time believing that I was capable of something like this. And um, in being, in the efforts of being authentic and true, um, I have to admit that growing up, one, I was teased very young. I mean, I don't have the easiest name to pronounce, and so that was often the target of what I was being teased about, and the fact that I was really smart. And then it just, and I think I was too kind, to the point where, to a fault, where I was the tattletale, right? I wanted justice. I wanted things to be looked at in a correct way. So when I saw something that didn't sit well with me, I would call it out, and I would get in trouble, not in trouble by them, but by my peers. I would get isolated. And so that was in early elementary. And so then later, elementary, junior high, I actually ended up teasing other people, and um, to the point possibly of like harassment. And I did that to try to fit in to a group that I belonged to. And um, it just, it's, I've always felt guilty about that in retrospect. I've looked back and think, gosh, how did I allow myself to get pulled into something like that? And I think of these individuals that I did this to, and I fortunately, with one of them, I was able to reconnect in high school, and we were so kind to each other, and I never apologized um, to this individual. And I often think of him a lot, actually, and just wonder, and hope that life has been kind to him. And it's just, so this group of individuals was reflecting that to me, a part of my life 7 years ago. And I just wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready for it, and I separated myself from them, where my interactions were a little more limited. I would still hang out with them here and there. Every once in a while I would still go out, but they shared that with me today, about that they must have scared me off of something that they did. And now in retrospect, and with all of this that's been going on, I realized, no, they didn't scare me. I mean, I guess there was an element of fear, because I wasn't ready to admit and confront those parts of myself that I was ashamed of, and that I felt guilty for, and so um, yeah, I did let myself go a lot that first time, and it scared me. It scared me, because it just reminded me of what I could, like, to one extreme of how I could potentially act when I really let myself go. And I mean, I was having fun. And the thing is that, and they've shared that they're like, you were having fun, like you were just letting go. And just how my perception of that was, just sometimes when we're very much wanting to control every aspect of our lives, when we let go, it's just like, oh, okay, I can't do that all the time, right? I have to, like, keep like this. And so um again, other parts of myself, right, that I needed I need to reconnect with. To be honest with you, I've realized that today in my interactions with them, parts of myself that I really need to learn how to balance, because having fun is an integral part of being balanced within ourselves, right? It can't just be all work, study, or work, and whatever. There has to be more in the balance of things. And I'm learning from them. I've always learned from them. One of the things that I admire so much about them is their ability to stay true to who they are, and to honor themselves with that, and what that looks like, no matter who they confront, right? They speak their truth, even if it hurts other people. So I'm so grateful to have them as my friends in my life. and they really highlighted so much for me today, and I love them and appreciate them. And I actually saw 222 on my phone when I was with them. So when I got home, I was looking at, my triangles, and then I created one that had to have fun in it. I have to find a way to balance this, have more fun during these next few months, and really embrace that. So one other aspect of what happened today that I reached out, and I'm not sure about, which is a little bit different with what I had shared or what the main topic is of skeletons in my closet, but I wanted to share because it happened this weekend, and I don't know if it's going to happen. I foresee it happening, resonating with someone, but I don't know. So I've been doing my tarot shuffle, and in the mornings lately, I've gotten the sense that they're not for me, because the challenge doesn't seem to resonate with me, and I wasn't sure if I was missing something. But this weekend, I actually started to do the tarot shuffle. I ran out of time, so I didn't read all of the cards, but I kept them with me so that at some point during the day I read them, and I was interacting with someone that day. Had a really good conversation, and there was some healing that was being done in that relationship, that connection. I come home later that day, read through my tarot, which I usually do. Like, I'll reread the tarot, what came out at the end of the day, to see if I was able to address the challenge in some way. So I realized that I didn't finish, or it got cut off. I didn't finish talking about my tarot shuffle and the interesting experience that I had with it this weekend. I think I was talking about just how I didn't get a chance to really read all of the cards. I pulled out the cards and put them in my little baggie and took them with me with a plan to read them, and kind of think about it during the day, and then go back at the end of the day and read them again to see if I was able to learn the lesson. And in this particular case, I had planned to be out with a specific individual, and like I mentioned, we had a really great conversation, and there was an opportunity for healing work to be done on them, for them. I guess they were able to do some healing work for themselves, and I was just kind of there with them in that process. And then when I get home at the end of the day, I was reading the cards and really making the time to learn from that challenge. And it turns out that as I was reading the booklet, that it felt, one, it didn't feel like it wasn't attached to me. It felt like it was really more related to this individual that I was with during the day. And so I reached out and told her, hey, you know what, I think this message is for you. And I asked if she was open to it, and she said yeah, and I sent her the images and the sayings, and then afterwards I asked her, was this helpful for you? And she said yeah, it was really helpful. So that's when I first realized, I was just like, oh snap. I wonder if I'm picking up on certain energies during the day, on top, aside from myself, because I had been noticing that towards the middle and end of last week, I was getting certain readings where I'm just like, does it make sense? I don't feel like I'm experiencing a tower moment, like I don't feel like anything's happening to me at this point regarding that, or just other things, the other cards that were coming up. It was not resonating with me. And so it didn't dawn on me that maybe it was for somebody else that I was connecting with that day. I felt like, oh, maybe it's for the collective, right? And I haven't really been recording those lately or showing them. I really haven't had the time to, and that's obviously not the focus of my channel. But unless I feel really strongly about it, but with this particular weekend, and or at least this particular day where I was with a group of people, I thought, and it did resonate with me kind of. And a lot of these that have been coming out, like, they'll resonate, but then they don't, because I think there's a level of expectation that I have of it, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So I mentioned I had bought, I had purchased a class, a tarot reading class, and I honestly haven't made time to really dive in. So that was something after after what happened this weekend, I was just like, okay, I need to jump back in and really understand that a little bit more so that I can use it better. I guess it's a tool, and just really hone that skill. And, if it's going to be helpful for someone else, then, I definitely think it's worth it. Yeah. So anyway, so I just, I ended up sharing that message with that group of people, just in case it might have resonated with someone. And I haven't heard back specifically if that message resonates, so maybe it was just for me. And I should go back and pay more attention to it. I didn't do a tarot shuffle this morning. I woke up late, and I planned on doing it before I go to bed, as a way to just reconnect. I really did feel disconnected today from my spirit guides, and I think it's just the meditation piece, because I really appreciate that. However, I did have dreams, and I don't remember them because I didn't write them down, that were interesting, and I woke up remembering, thinking, oh, this is connecting to that, and I didn't write it down. But I have been seeing the synchronicities also randomly, and then also when I like had a certain discovery or realization or made a certain choice, I did see 1212 today. I saw 555 today. So it really is more specific to my thought process and what my actions, which I think is good, right? Yeah. So I guess we'll see. What happens. But just wanted to add that final piece since the video got cut off. Apologize for that. Still learning. All right, thanks.